Hello students, welcome again to your Sociology current affair classes. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the new trends of Dalit articulation and the assertion of new identity among Dalits. Okay, so the lecture will be basically based on Dalit mobilization, in which we will try to understand assertion which is new kind of assertion which we are seeing in Dalit, then how it is leading to identity development, how the different Dalit movements have progressed so far, or what is the present status. Basically we will be analyzing the present status. We will be trying to analyze how the previous Dalit year movements were different from this new age Dalit movements. Okay, so in the crux we will be analyzing Dalit mobilization in the present status, that what are the challenges, what are the changes, what are the issues they had been facing, okay, and what are the positive trends among the Dalit mobilization in these years. Okay, so obviously if you are reading this newspaper, you must be knowing that the movement of Unna in Gujarat, okay, a few years back the movement has happened, which has led to the development of Jignesh Mevani as a new Dalit leader. Okay, then there was Rohit Memulla's suicide in Hyderabad University, which has led to the university movements among Dalit students. Okay, then similarly Jadhavpur University movement. So there is various new trends of articulation, new trends of assertion has led to developed among Dalits in the recent years, which has led to the development of new Dalit leaders, which has led to the development of new middle class among Dalits. Okay, and the development of new middle class Dalits is also the reason of this assertion and identity. So both are interrelated. Okay, it has been seen that now there is new middle class has developed among Dalits. This new middle class does not want to have a the previous does not want to go through the previous approaches of Dalit movements, which have been the begging kind of posture. Okay, कि भाई हमें हमारे rights दे दो. They were just asking for the respectively asking for their rights, but now these movements are for power. There is already occupational changes which the society has been facing. So according to these occupational changes, everybody has a freedom to decide or choose what occupation one wants to have. Okay, so in the lecture of manual scavenging, we have seen that the 98% of jobs of manual scavenging are reserved for the Dalits only. But these trends, these parameters have been changing. Now this new middle class wants equal rights everywhere. This new middle class wants power. Okay, they think that everything which is which should be available for them, they can achieve that thing from power, है ना, कि according to Weber's theory जाओ आप लोग कि आपके पास power है तो आपके पास status भी है, class भी है. Okay, so they are believing in that kind of ideology, which the ideology was followed by Ambedkar also. कि Ambedkar का भी यही mission था कि he wanted to increase the political articulation among Dalits. He was knowing that unless and until the Dalits are having power, they cannot bring changes in the society. So they believe in that ideology that we have to change the if we have to change our status, if we have to change our situation, we have to have attained power. Okay, and these university movements which we have faced, or which we have seen in the recent years related to the Dalit articulation, they have led to the growth of new kind of identity among Dalits. What is this new identity? Identity का मतलब क्या है? कि identity means that they know what is their position, they know what they have to do, they know how they have to mobilize, है ना? They know that their chances or their issues are different from the larger society. So this is making of identity. कि what is their status, they know. What are the changes they want, they know. How they are going to have those changes, they are trying to follow the ideology of Ambedkar by capturing power. Their interests are different from the margin, majority. They know that thing. So this is identity. This is bringing the assertion. This is bringing the articulation among Dalits. Okay. So this identity among Dalits because of university movements has a major impact because of education. That these educated Dalits, they know how to fight or why to fight for their rights. Earlier there was difficulty in their proposition कि उन्हें पता ही नहीं होता था कि for what they are fighting for. But now this educated Dalit, which has been part of the various prestigious institutes of India like JNU, Hyderabad University, Jadavpur University, Aligarh Muslim University, etc., etc., they know about their rights. So that is why they are fighting for those rights. Okay. So in that thing, this movement has become a little bit of radical nature, which has been proposed by Vivek Kumar. That these present kind of movements which we have seen because of this university politics or the rise of Dalit articulation among universities has been a not of a passive nature but of a active kind of resistance against the inequality they have been facing in society. Okay. So on these lines, we will be analyzing that what are the different trends, what are the reasons, and what are the changes, and what are the issues, etc., etc. So now let us start our series. That what are the different reasons for Dalit mobilization that presently, or from the after independence, what have been the different reasons which have led to the increase in Dalit mobilization, which have led to the increase in Dalit movements. Okay. So first is, according to S.C. Dubey, Dalit consciousness, that means increase in awareness among Dalits according to their position, for the status, for their rights, etc., etc. Okay. So according to S.C. Dubey, this Dalit consciousness is the manifestation of Dalits' search for modernization. Whereas Dalit consciousness in the traditional India was a challenge to the orthodox Brahminism and Hindus values. Okay. This means that earlier Dalit consciousness was based on what we can say, that removal of that purity and pollution kind of thing, है ना. उन्हें था कि भाई हमारा जो ब्राह्मणिकल ऑर्थोडॉक्स व्यूज की वजह से जो हमारा स्टेटस बना हुआ है, वी वांट टू चेंज दैट, वी वांट टू ब्रिंग इक्वलिटी इन आवर सोसाइटी. बट बिकॉज ऑफ मॉडर्नाइजेशन, this has related to the rise of, or ask for the equality as well as equal participation in society, from economy to politics, everywhere. Okay. Why this modernization has helped, or how this modernization has been helping? Because modernization believes in modern values. What are those modern values? The democracy, the democratic rights, okay, freedom to do anything, okay, democratic values of liberty, equality, fraternity, scientific. In modernization there is notion of scientific scientific value, there is importance of scientific evaluation, scientific inventions, etc., etc. So the modernization believes in rationality. Everything goes according to reason and science. Whereas these Brahmanical notions related to purity and pollution were based on the orthodox kind of values, based on the traditions, based on the books, the Indology, okay, which is part of your paper 2, G.S. Guru's Indology. So those were based on the traditions which were made by the Brahmans. There was no basis related to rationality, there was no basis related to rationalism according to in those discrimination methods which were made against Dalits or untouchables. So these modern values which vouch for rationality, which vouch for this reason and science, they doesn't adhere to those orthodox traditional values. Hence, these modern values vouch for occupational freedom. These vouch for political participation, increase in political participation. These vouch for liberty to do anything, irrespective of caste, class, gender, etc., etc. Okay. So, according to S.C. Dubey, this is the this present manifestation of Dalit research is related to modernization. Okay. Then second, Andre Bete says that the Dalit mobilization in contemporary India is greatly driven by political interests. Greatly driven by political interests rather than by discriminatory culturally past. The same thing he has said in different words. That this is nothing but a political interest driven consciousness. What is this political interest? This political interest is that we as Dalits should be part or equal part of the political sphere of India. We as Dalits should be equal part of a legislative process. That we should be making laws for ourselves. We should be equally, have an equal opportunity in political space of India or Indian democracy. These are the modern values which was talked by S.C. Dubey. Okay. So he says that there is occupational liberty. Now the manual scavenging should not be reserved, or it is not reserved for Dalits. Okay, there is occupational liberty that Dalits can choose any occupation, any job they want to do. But if you go to the reality which we have understood in the last lectures of ours of related to Dalit untouchability and manual scavenging, here where you have we have learned that Amit Thorat as well as Omkar Joshi, they still says, according to their 2022 paper, that still there is untouchability in Indian society based on the traditional values. So this occupational liberty is there. This has been our constitutional right, which is the next point, that the constitution gives us right, gives us freedom against untouchability, which we have, which is the article 17 of our constitution. But still this occupational liberty has not been enjoyed fully among the Dalits. Okay. So Andre Bete says that there is occupational liberty, there is constitutional right, as well as there is social change. What is this social change? Adherence to or acceptance of the modern values of freedom, equality and liberty. Okay. All these three have led to the change in Dalit articulation, which has resulted into, or which has been increased in the demand of more political articulation among Dalits, or more political participation among Dalits. Okay. But what is the present situation related to this, or or even the modern situation related to these three issues of, or these three rights of occupational liberty, constitutional right and social change? We have understood in our manual scavenging as well as untouchability lecture. Then Gail Omvet, she says that the Dalit mobilization in India should be studied from a multidimensional perspective. What is that multidimensional perspective? That we should understand the economic discrimination that they have been facing. We should understand the lack of social dignity which they have facing. We should understand the cultural isolation, alienation among Dalits, which is prevalent in society. She has given this view in 1950s, but still that kind of view is prevalent in Indian society, which we have already understood in our previous lectures. Okay. So if we want to find a solution for the Dalit issue, if we want to increase their participation, if we want to increase their assimilation in the Indian society or the majority of the Indian society, we have to think accordingly in a multidimensional approach. That we have to understand that what are the social issues they have been facing, how the economically marginalized they are, what are the different initiatives which we can take to decrease that economic marginalization of them. Then we have to find out the cultural isolation among Dalits, that how they feel culturally isolated. Still the segregation part is there, is special to ritual, every segregation they are facing in the Indian society. We have to find that solutions by focusing on the multidimensional approach. सिर्फ jobs देने से, सिर्फ reservation देने से solution नहीं निकलने वाला. We have to think more, or out of the box to change this particular situation. Then M.S.A. Rao, in his Social Movements in India, the 1979 article, he says that, or he equates Dalit movements with the movements of blacks. Okay, that in movements we have in USA we have seen the Black Panther movement, which has was reciprocated, which was copied in India as a Dalit Panther movement in 1970s. So he says that, or he equates Dalit movement with the movements of blacks in America. According to him, the ideology for Dalit movements was imported from the West and that bore fruit in Indian social soil. Okay, so that Black Panther movement was converted into Dalit Panther movements, or was, you know, in Indian society among the Dalit leaders, that they have started, the new Dalit young leaders in the 1970s have started the Dalit Panther movement in India. This has resulted into the consciousness among the related to the issues of Dalits among Dalit students, among Dalit youth, which has further resulted into, you know, bringing many changes in the society, which was started from Maharashtra. Okay. Then Yogendra Singh, he says that the Dalit mobilization in India sufficiently exemplifies how modernization has broken backbone of caste. That he says that the modern values of democracy, modern values of equality, liberty and fraternity has led to the increase in Dalit voices, has led to the increase in Dalit assertion, Dalit articulation in India. And modernization has been among the very important reasons for that change in Dalit issues or change in Dalit status. Then Ghanshyam Shah, he says that, or he classifies the Dalit movements into reformative as well as alternative movements. So reformative movements and alternative movements. Ghanshyam Shah, that Dalit movements are reformative and alternative. Reformative movements, how? That those Dalit movements which have asked for equal rights, or which have asked for removal of untouchability, है ना, which has asked for dignity of life. But the alternative movements, what they are asking for equal participation in society, increase in their political space, increase in their social status, and demand for, or increase in the demand of reservation, etc. Okay, so this was the view of Ghanshyam Shah. Now, the Dalit movements in India, this is a, you know, part of a static portion, but I will try to explain this in your current affairs part also, so that you can analyze that what kind of ideology the Dalit movements in the present state of India are facing, or using. So the Dalit movements in Indian society, or the, you know, in the post-independence period, have been following 4 different kind of ideologies. Okay, first is Gandhian, then communist, then Hindutva, then Ambedkar's. So what is this? Different kinds of movements related to Dalit mobilization or ideological differences. Okay, so first, Gandhian ideology. We already know about the work of Gandhi related to the untouchables, or according to him they are Harijans. Okay, he started temple entry movements. He, you know, his interference resulted into Pune Pact, that is reservation for legislative seats among Dalits. Okay, so he wanted that the Dalits are part of larger Hindu society, or they are, you know, integral part of our caste system. This was his view, that he wanted that the Dalits, every issue or every, you know, problem Dalits have been facing should be removed within this caste system, should be taken in a caste system, in a sphere. Okay, कि भाई हमारे कास्ट में जो इश्यूज हैं दलित्स उसको हमारे जो अपर कास्ट हैं उनको खुद सॉल्व करें. There should be no, you know, outside interference, etc., etc. कि दलित हिंदू फोल्ड के पार्ट हैं तो हिंदू फोल्ड में ही इसका सोल्यूशन ढूंढना जाना चाहिए, ओके, और रिलीजन ही इसका सोल्यूशन निकालेगा. दिस वॉज हिज पर्टिकुलर व्यू, बट दिस हिज व्यू वॉज नॉट सपोर्टेड बाय अंबेडकर. Okay, then Ambedkar has a different ideology related to this. Independence के बाद, after independence, Indian government has been focusing, or Indian government had been focusing on this Gandhian ideology related to the Dalit, or upgradation of Dalits, or bringing changes in for the Dalits in the society. That they have to, there has to be a change from the caste system itself, or from the upper caste itself, if we want to change the situation of Dalits. But in the end, this is not possible because of the strong belief in traditions, strong belief in customs, strong belief in religion, orthodoxy among Hindus or upper caste Hindus. That is why we are still facing the untouchability solution. Okay, but according to Ambedkar, that the state support is very much important if the power issue, or the capture of power is very much important if we want to bring changes in the society. Okay. So Ambedkar believes in the capturing of power, not trying to imply or bringing change among the caste system itself. He wanted, if we want to bring change in the caste system, if we want to upgrade the status of Dalits, we have to give power to them. We have to bring changes from the political or the legislative sphere itself. That's why he has always fought for the reservation policies. He has always fought for the equal participation, political participation for the Dalits. Okay. His ideology, or the Ambedkar's ideology of capturing power, was followed by BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party in Uttar Pradesh. This was one of the important, or one of the initial Dalit parties which has captured power in one particular state, that is one of the largest states of India. So BSP believes in the capturing of power if they want to if there has to be bringing change in the society related to the Dalits status. So they have to capture power. This was followed by BSP. So this was Gandhian ideology कि भाई changes लेके आने तो caste system में लेके आने पड़ेंगे हमें, upper caste ही help कर सकता है उसकी. That ideology is not followed by the Dalits, okay, from the initial stages itself. Then the Ambedkar ideology that if we want to change the status of Dalits, we have to capture power, which was followed by BSP as a major political party, or Dalit political party in India, which had captured power in Uttar Pradesh. Then there is communist ideology. What is this communist ideology? Communist ideology is always try to find, or is different from or against the state. It's versus state. So communist ideology supports Dalit movements or their fights against state. They are more radical in nature. Okay, that is the reason when we see the movements of Dalit movements in Hyderabad University or JNU, that they are nothing but fighting against the state. That is the reason, because of this support of Dalit movements against state, or their indifference against state of communist ideology, these movements, or these young leaders among Dalits in the different universities from JNU to Hyderabad, I have been supporter of this communist ideology related to their fight against state. So this communist ideology has helped the Dalits in bringing intersectionality of issues. Intersectionality of issues, or intersectionality of different class. What are those different classes? That they have been successful in bringing tribes, minorities, as well as Dalits in at equal position, or in union against the state policies, or against the indifference which the state has been bringing on these communities. So communist ideology ने क्या किया, tribes, minorities, और minorities basically Muslims as well as in Dalits को एक क्लास बनाने में कोशिश की ताकि वो स्टेट के खिलाफ लड़ सके. Okay. So in the present course of time, when we talk about the university politics related to Dalit movements, or the participation of youngsters among Dalit movements who have attained good education and all, this is because of this communist ideology. Okay. Then the last is Hindutva ideology. If you have guys been following the politics and all, you must have been reading news ki bhai Dalits BJP has have garnered the votes of Dalits also. But in general, BJP is considered as a party of middle class or upper caste group. But they have been, what we can say, successful in getting or garnering votes of Dalits not only in UP but all over India. That is the reason they have been more than 300 seats in Lok Sabha and more than 70 seats in their UP Legislative Assembly. Sorry, UP Lok Sabha constituencies. So this Hindutva ideology, what they say is that Dalits are Hindus, which was propagated by Gandhi also. Okay, and they says that there have been some differences among within the caste system and all, but as they are equal part of Hindu society, so the whole society should come at a at one place, or come at union to increase or to change the situation of Dalits, or decrease prevent or eliminate the problems which the Dalits have been facing. So they have been saying that you should be part of state, or state is equally participating or equally working for your own welfare. That is the why RSS targets these Dalits areas to increase the their participation in elections and all. So this Hindutva politics has been very much successful in bringing Dalits into electoral mainfold. Okay, they have been trying to propagate different schemes for the Dalits emancipation or the help of Dalits, but in the end they don't want that the Dalits should capture important positions in the parliament or important positions in the government. This is the reason that this Hindutva ideology of Dalit politics, which has been successful in the past, or in the 2004 elections, or 2014 elections, or 19 elections, this has been not supported by at the present moment. There is no support of present movement to this Dalit Hindutva ideology of Dalits, because it has been said that this Hindutva ideology is propagated Hindus versus Muslims. Now this is the turn that when this will be propagated, this will incite violence or incite discrimination among upper caste Hindus as well as and versus lower caste Hindus. So the discriminatory nature in the end has not been changed, although they have increased the political mobilization to political parties of Dalits, but in the end the discriminatory nature of the upper caste Hindus against these Dalits have not been changed. So for this reason, this Hindutva ideology is not supported by Dalits. So these are the different 4 strands of ideology which we have understood related to the Dalit movements. Now, what are the contradictions of Dalit movements as well as what is the present status of Dalit movements? Okay, according to Sutradhar, Dalits began their movement against the exploitation of Brahmins. Okay, initially the movements which were started after independence were against the exploitation of Brahmins, and but they have not succeeded even now, which we have understood in our Dalit untouchability lecture, where we have learnt about the page or learnt about the different article which was written related to prevalence of untouchability in India by Amit Thorat and Omkar Joshi. Okay, so these movements which have started against the exploitation by Brahmins have not succeeded now. Even now, there are varied reasons why the movement could not be successful, and one of the most important is the Brahmanism, which is deep rooted in the social structure of India. The same thing was said by Sukhdev Thorat, if you remember your last untouchability lecture, that the persistence of this untouchability, or the reasons of this persistent untouchability in Indian society, is the continued notion of purity and pollution among the Brahmins or among the upper caste Hindus. So although this movement, the initial movements to till now, they have been fighting for the equality, They started against the unequal position the Brahmins have been given, or propagated against the Dalits. But the present situation is still not right, or still not fruitful for the rise of Dalits in the society. So they are still being facing discrimination, which we have understood by the study of J.P. Agarwal related to public untouchability or discrimination among Dalits in the public offices also. Okay, so the Brahmanism, the persistent notions of purity and pollution among upper caste has been the major reason for this continued untouchability, continued inequality among Dalits in society. But now what is the present status? So the present status is there is increase in Dalit movements. Dalit movements have come at the pan-India level, which how we can say that? We can say that by the example of Unna movement. We can say the example of by the example of Hyderabad University movement. We can say this by the example of Jadavpur University movement. Okay, we can say this by the in Maharashtra there was movement related to Dalits. So this Dalits articulation, or this Dalit movement mobilization has been become a pan-India kind of thing. Okay, from North India to South India, everyone is fighting for the Dalit. Dalits have been fighting for their rights everywhere. Then there is change in stance. What is this change in stance? That earlier they were fighting for fighting for their what we can say life, dignity in life. But now they have been fighting for capturing power. They have become more assertive or more positive for their rights. There is no passive approach. There is active confrontation against state for their rights, which was propagated by Vivek Kumar, which I have told you earlier also. Okay. Here Badri Narayan says he is also a famous scholar who works for the Dalit movements, or who works for the Dalit issues and all. So you have to remember 2-3 names for if you are writing for any answers for your Dalits related to Dalit movement, related to Dalit articulation, related to status of Dalits, etc., etc. First is Sukhdev Thorat, which I have told in your previous lecture related to untouchability, and the second is this Badri Narayan. Okay, so here Badri Narayan says that this articulation of Dalit interests and the movement of Dalits youths is radical in nature. Why this is radical in nature? Remember this communist ideology. Okay, so there has been active confrontation against for their rights in Dalits against the state policies, or against the any discrimination they have been facing in society, either in their university, either in their government offices, etc., etc. Then growth in academic interest. Now with the rise of Dalit assertion, with the rise of Dalit identity, there has been increase in the research papers, increase in the academic discussions, deliberations on Dalits issues. Okay, the prominent being the Sukhdev Thorat, that he has been writing against Dalit issues, or for the Dalit issues, against the various problems that the new Dalits have been facing in society or at the present times. Okay, so there has been increase in Dalit literature, there has been increase in talks for Dalit rights, and there has been increase in discussions, deliberations in universities related to Dalit issues. Then expanding to new territories with new interest. Earlier when we talk about the orthodox or important Dalit political parties who have attained some kind of political vote mileage and votes for themselves, first being the BSP in UP, then the second being the Bahujan Samaj Party in Uttar Pradesh, then the second being the late Ramvilas Paswan's party, Lok Janshakti Party in Bihar. Okay, so यही दो important political parties हमें सुनाई देती थी, और in the end when we talk about their participation in parliament and all, तो Republic Party of India, this Ramdas Athawale's parties 1 or 2 seats when they are always capturing their constituency and come to the Lok Sabha. एक वो हम पार्टी सुनते थे. But right now there has been a growth of new political parties among in Dalits. Okay, from for example we have given the example of BSP in UP, the LGP in Bihar, promising activism of Vidyut Thalai Chiru Thaikal Kachi VSK in Tamil Nadu, as well as Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi in Maharashtra. Okay, so they have been trying to new kind of or vouch for the new territories for the Dalits. Then how these are big, still being a challenge, or what are the still different issues these Dalit mobilization, Dalit movements have been facing. That we have understood that there is Dalit mobilization, we have understood that there is a fight for their rise, articulation of their their identity, etc., etc. But still, what are the different challenges they have been facing? So the first challenge is lack of social or political connection between Dalit parties. Okay, there is no social or political camaraderie between them. BSP has been fighting for Dalits in UP. LJP has been fighting for Dalits rights in Bihar. Different political parties, Republic Party has been fighting for Dalit rights in Maharashtra. Okay. What was the point? Lack of social or political connection. Now these three parties don't have any connection between themselves. जब बात होती है कि दलित के मूवमेंट्स के लिए, दलित के आर्टिकुलेशन के लिए आके सारी पार्टीज एक साथ आके काम करें, तो तीनों में से कोई पार्टी एक साथ नहीं आती है. दे डोंट कम इन यूनियन. इवन इन यूपी वी हैव नाउ सीइंग द राइज ऑफ भीम आर्मी by Chandrasekhar Raman. So here only when one party is saying that we have been working for Dalits, this BSP is not in articulation, not in contact with this Bhim army. So there is division among Dalits parties. They are not working together unless and until they are going to work together. अब दलित यहाँ पे confused है कि they should support Bhim army or they should support BSP in Uttar Pradesh, which will ultimately result into the loss of any Dalit political party. When the votes will be divided, which party is going to win the election? No one. There will be a third party who will be getting supports of these other caste people, and they will be ruling the state. Okay. So there is lack of social connection among these political parties, which is bringing more challenge, or which has been more challenging for the fighting for the rights of the Dalits. That is the reason that the new age Dalit leaders or the new age Dalit youth has not supporting the orthodox or the traditional Dalit parties. This is the reason that Jignesh Mavani initially fought independent, then he went to Congress, because he was knowing that there is no future of these Dalit parties in India, or Dalit parties in the present state of time. What is the status of BSP in UP? Nothing. Similarly, what is the status of LGP in Bihar? They have been fighting among themselves. Then lack of Dalit movements in Dalit populous states. The states of Punjab and West Bengal are the states which have a large population of Dalits, large population of SCs. But there is no Dalit political parties, important Dalit political parties. There is no important or Dalit movements we can see in these states. There are zero Dalit movements we see in these states. But there is a discrimination. But there is no movements, Dalit movements, which we have seen in this state. The BAMSEF, which has converted into Bahujan Samaj Party in the present state, was started in Punjab. But right now there are no Dalit movements in Punjab. Now, or the West Bengal has been already fighting between the Hindutva politics and the politics of this Trinamool Congress. There is no talk of Dalit movements. There is no talk of Dalit political parties in these Dalit populous states. Then lack of monitoring of Dalit discourse. That we know that Dalit, talks of Dalit rights, talk of Dalit assertion, talk of Dalit movements have been going on all over India. Different political parties, Dalit political parties have been working by their own in different pockets of India and different regions of India. But still, there is no centralized mechanism from where we can get that the Dalits of these states or these regions have been facing these issues, they have been facing for these rights, but Dalits of these regions or different pockets have been fighting for different rights. There is no centralized mechanism from where this can be monitored. पहले political parties ही divided हैं, उनमें कोई union नहीं है. In the end, how this talks of Dalit assertion or this one particular thread of Dalit unionism can be spread all over India if there is a central monitoring kind of thing. There is no central monitoring kind of thing related to Dalit movements, related to Dalit issues, which is resulting into divergence of views, which is resulting into various different problems in Dalit movements. Okay. In this line, you can write about the work of Ghanshyam Shah. Ghanshyam Shah says that there are regional variations in every social movement. There is regional variations in every social movement. Every social movement have some active proponents or active phase in different regions, then a passive phase in different regions. But in Dalit movements, this regional variation is very much steep. Okay, for example, in UP we can see Dalit politics, but we cannot see Dalit politics in Punjab. We cannot see Dalit politics in Haryana. We cannot see Dalit politics in West Bengal. We cannot see Dalit politics in Chhattisgarh or Madhya Pradesh. Then we can see Dalit politics in Kerala, but we cannot see Dalit politics in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. So there are a lot of regional variations or regional differences in Dalit politics or Dalit movements in India. Then rise of right wing, the rise of Hindutva politics, the rise of RSS, which has resulted into capturing Dalit votes for BJP, has resulted into or has been a very much challenge for the making of Dalit assertion, making of Dalit identity, or the success of Dalit movements. In the end, they are subsiding these Dalit assertions, Dalit identity movements into Hindutva politics movements. There is no discrimination on the basis of caste, but there is discrimination on the basis of religion. Then internal contradictions. Dalit parties as well as Dalit themselves are facing internal contradictions. There is intercaste rivalry among Dalits also. Which in one lecture I have told you about a case done by one Dalit party or done by one Dalit caste in Supreme Court related to a different hierarchical notion from the other subcaste of Dalits. So they have been facing from internal contradictions. Dalit parties ही कितनी बार टूट जाती हैं. Ramdas Athawale's parties has been broken various times. Then this Lok Janshakti Party of Bihar, which was of late Ram Vilas Paswan, that party has been divided into two different segments or two different political parties. One is led by his brother, one is led by his son. So there is internal contradictions among Dalit parties which has been jeopardizing the interest of Dalit movements and jeopardizing the interest of Dalit politics. Then lack of ideological mechanism. Although with respect to time, earlier there was focus on Gandhian ideology, then there was focus on Ambedkar ideology, then there was focus on communist ideology, then Hindutva ideology, again communist ideology. So there is no proper ideology on the basis of which Dalits should fight for their rights, or Dalit can fight for their rights. So there is lack of one particular ideology for the fights of their political interest, for the fights of their mobilization, for the fights of their articulation. Then low political success. In the states where Dalit political parties have been, have some say, for example in UP, in Bihar. But in UP they have been successful for 1 to 2 times, but in the present status of from last 10 to 15 years they have been facing failures. In Bihar they have been facing failures. In Maharashtra they have been facing failures. So these Dalit parties have not been able to work in tandem or work continuously for getting power or getting important places in the government. If they get important places in the government, they are not ready to work for a Dalit articulation. They are not ready to work for the rights of Dalits, for the improvement of Dalit rights, which we have seen in various political parties or various political Dalit leaders. For the capturing of vote, they will say that we are fighting for Dalit rights, but when they attain the chair, they are not fighting for the Dalit rights. This is the another major difference or another major issue which Dalit youth at the present time has been facing. जो अब Dalit youth है who has been fighting for their rights, they know that the Dalits who have attained mobility in the society, they are seeing themselves as upper caste, not as Dalits anymore, and they are discriminating among the Dalits. That is the reason that the present Dalit movements, which has been led by these young leaders and the youth among Dalits, they are not ready to join with the mobilized Dalits who have attained a new kind of character because of their economy, because of their education. कि उनको पता है कि इनके पास पैसा आ गया, अब ये अपनी कैटेगरी से निकल के, अपने कास्ट से निकल के अपने आप को अपर कास्ट समझते हैं, अपने आप को अपर क्लास में कंसिडर करते हैं, एंड दे आर नॉट रेडी टू फाइट फॉर द Dalits who have still lagging behind in society. Then lack of unity. Just the example which I have given you, that there is lack of unity among the Dalits. The Dalits who have attained social mobility are not ready to join with the Dalits who are still facing marginalization in society. So there is lack of unity among Dalits itself as a one class, as one caste. There is lack of unity among Dalit political parties to work in union for the Dalit interests. So these are the major issues which the Dalits have been facing in the society. Now, Dalit consciousness challenging constitutional principles. Does the increase of Dalit consciousness, Dalit assertiveness, Dalit identity in society is challenging the constitutional principles of equality? If we have to give an answer in one word, then yes. The constitution believes in equality, okay, but this Dalit consciousness has resulted into increase in continued demand of reservation. है ना, कि there is still a demand for reservation, but the upper caste people say that there is no need of discrimination, everyone should be judged equally, we have accepted that there is no discrimination in the society, there should be no what we can say, there is no continued indiscrimination in the society, and everyone has an equal right, so this reservation should be done on the economic basis, not on the caste basis, etc, etc, etc. So this reservation should be removed. But this Dalit consciousness has resulted into increase in the caste consciousness. There is, because of this Dalit consciousness, there is increase in caste consciousness, not among Dalits, not only among Dalits, but among the upper caste also, which has been increasing tensions in the society related to fight between upper caste and lower caste. There is no end of this debate related to reservation and all. But if we have to see a problem related to this reservation, it has resulted into increase in the caste consciousness, not only among Dalits but among the upper caste, which is led to the different kind of confrontation, conflicts among different caste groups, and in the end this problem is persisting. Okay. So before ending this Dalit mobilization lecture, we will try to make a particular, we will try to analyze previous trends of Dalit movements as well as this present trends of Dalit movements. First is, earlier there was a begging posture कि हमें हमारे rights दे दो, है ना. They were continuously requesting, continuously asking for their rights. But now there is confrontation for equality. Okay, there is, then earlier there was passive response कि बार बार सिर्फ रिक्वेस्ट ही करते रहना है, बट नाउ देर इज एक्टिव रिस्पॉन्स. ओके, इंक्रीज इन वॉइस, increase in movement. So this active response was given by Vivek Kumar. Okay. What can be the other differences which we can highlight here? That earlier there was less kind of articulation, because they were not aware of their rights, they were not aware about their different issues they have been facing in the society. But right now, in the terms of Badri Narayan, there is more articulation, which is radical in nature. Okay. And the majority of them we have already discussed, and all of them we have already discussed in the lecture. You can just make a chart if you want. That will help in your preparation at the end, that you will be able to revise very much easily for that. Okay. So these are the major previous and present status of Dalit movements in India, or Dalit mobilization in India. Another you can write here is that earlier these Dalit movements were led by the upper caste people itself, okay, which was propagated by Gandhi when he talks about the Harijan. But right now they don't want to give their leadership to the upper caste people or the other caste group. They are leading their movements by themselves. Okay. Another point which you can write here is that earlier the movement was basically concentrated among Dalits. There was no intersection of different caste, different class group. But right now there is intersection among different class groups or different groups of India, from minorities to tribes, etc., etc. That all in the tandem, all in the unionism, fighting for the injustice done to them. Okay. So in this way you can write about the various differences between the previous Dalit movements as well as the new Dalit movements. So this was for the Dalit mobilization chapter, or Dalit mobilization chapter, the present status of Dalit mobilization in India, the topic which we have just discussed. In the next lecture we will meet with some other different topic. Till then, take care. Goodbye.